Well, hello. Yes, Star Wars t-shirt, new Star Wars artwork on the wall, because my children are wonderful. Star Wars Sunday. What's I got to do with trading? Absolutely nothing. I'm going to discuss routines today, and the first part of the routine is just coming.
There you go.
Is this for me?
It is.
Aha. Say hello to everybody before I run away.
Hello.
No, get right in. Go on, right there. There we go. Go on, shoot. Go away. Man cave. Sorry. Going to discuss routines today. Let's roll the intro and have a little chat about it. Hi, welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Langers. I am the Scruffy Trader. And I'm trying to put trading in the real world. And what I mean by that is, you're going to see no fake stuff here. There's no fake mansions or Lamborghinis, anything like that. It's just me, cup of coffee, because we all know Scruffy likes a coffee, and that screen. And when I'm on the screen, I'll show you live trades in the moment, and you'll see them play out in front of you, and they'll be uploaded pretty much the same day that they're taken. And you'll see the entries, the closes, and the P&L, whether it's good or bad. I also show you a few strategies and some talking head videos like this. Some of them are a rant, and some of them are just answering questions that I've had from emails or messages, and I try and put them into plain English or bite-sized chunks that you can use to make reference to other videos to make them a little bit clearer. You know, simple questions like, what is an RSI, that sort of thing. Anyway, if that sounds pretty good, please consider subscribing, like and share the channel, because it genuinely helps me, and ask your question below in the comments. Very simple. And what am I talking about today? Well, I had a very good email the other day, and I try and give a shout out to the people who asked the questions. And this one came from Volker in Germany. I do hope I've pronounced that correctly. And his email was quite good, but it's not a question that is easily answered, because it's about routine. And routines are personal to everybody. Now, I'll talk you through my routine and what I'm looking at, and more specifically why I'm looking at it. You see, when I was reading Volker's email, he works and he's wanting a routine to work round his job, which is cool, because most traders start that way, and they don't have the benefit like myself where I do it as a living and I have all day to trade. It's just something that comes with time, or unless you've got a big bank balance to start with. Now, I watched a video the other day, and it kind of made me laugh. He was a nice young lad, and it was very cinematic. And as you can see from my filming skills, I am no Steven Spielberg, but I am a good trader, so that kind of gets me through it. Anyway, I can't remember the tagline, but it was something like, how bad do you want it? And he was wanting to become a full-time trader, and apparently he'd been at it for six years or so. But he's part of one of these IML group pyramid things where you pay a monthly fee for signals and what have you. And I just don't get that sort of thing. I'm not a believer in signal services, I'm really not. There's nothing wrong with paying for an education, if it's the right education. But to buy signals is just silly. Anyway, I digress. I nearly got on a rant there, boys and girls. Anyway, but his video was a little bit like this. He was an English lad, like myself, you know, I come from the UK. So his time frames would be the same as mine. But he was getting up at 4:45 in the morning. There's only 4:45 in my day, and it ain't in the morning. And then he was jumping into a cold shower, Again, not really something I fancy doing, but he showed himself in the shower, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to see me in the shower. Christ, Winky doesn't want to see me in the shower, and I sleep with her every night. Anyway, then it got really good, because he put the kettle on and he made himself a coffee. Well, I can go with that, because now he's talking my language, because we all know Scruffy likes a coffee. But then he did something really strange. He sat and meditated to whale song for about half an hour to calm his mind. Right, okay. I know lots of professional traders, and we talk to each other pretty much every day. Not one of us does that. Not one. and it is quite comical. Although, if you join our Facebook group, and you're very welcome to come along, by the way, it's easy find. Just go on Facebook, look for the Scruffy Trader, and you'll find the group. It's just a bunch of guys having a friendly chat, a little bit of shared learning. But every day we put a playlist on, and we each select a song for us to listen to, and mine is inevitably terrible. So you could say I listen to whale song most days, because my taste in music ain't the best. But if you can't find it, just come along to the blog, scruffytrader.com, my contact details there, and I'll send you a link. Anyway, I digress. So that made me chuckle quite a bit. Then he went off to the gym. As you can see by my athletic sort of physique, I go to the gym as well. I think I've had a few pints with Jim, but that's another story. Then he goes to work. Then he came back and he sat at the charts. And it was all very cinematic, and it looked good, and he's there with his black polo neck on, looking like James Bond, talking into the camera about how he wants to be a trader. And all I was thinking was, what a waste of time. You know, it looked good, and to the millennial generation it would have been amazing, but to my generation it just looked a little bit silly. Because in the real world, we're only interested in one thing, you know, and that's making some money. And that's what trading is about. And the moment you forget that is when you fail. And it's why I have many an argument. Well, not an argument anymore, because I just don't post on public forums anymore, because I can't be bothered with the clowns that are in there. They'll talk a good game, but as soon as you ask, are you profitable, they get very aggressive and angry, because they're not. But they'll argue all day what a pip and a point and a tick is. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's a movement in price, and it doesn't matter if you call it a point, a pip, or a tick. All that matters is you got the direction right and you made some money. That is it. All right. So when you're arguing amongst yourselves, it's just silly, you know. I often call it ticks, you know, because when I was shown many moons ago, the chap who taught me talked in ticks. Oh yeah, it's moved many ticks up and it's X amount of points, and he didn't give a bloody monkeys what the terminology was, and he was a 30-year banker. You know, all they're interested in is whether it makes money. So I digress. But the question that was asked was about routine. And the reason why I was giving you that little story is to show you that sometimes you can go a little bit too far. All you need to do as a trader to make money is repeat profitable setups. That is it. But what dictates that setup is the time that you have. And this is something that was touched on in the email. Because when you're working, if you're trying to trade on a 15-minute chart, you're onto a loser before you start. Because you haven't got the time to monitor the charts throughout the day. You need to be looking at a longer time frame. So I'll talk you through what I do during the day, because I actually have two ways of trading. Because I day trade because I have time and it's my job, but I also swing trade for long-term investment, and that's something that I'm building up as a retirement fund. Okay, so that's the way I do it. I actually have 3 accounts. I have one account to play with, I have one account that is my wage, and I have one account which is my investment. And it's as simple as that. But the way I look at them is all exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the time frame. So my working day is this. I get up 6:30 in the morning. Sort of pull myself together, go clean my teeth, have a wash sort of thing. Wander down into the kitchen, as you've seen in other videos. Make a coffee, because we all know Scruffy likes a coffee. And I'll read the news. And I'm reading the news to see what events is going to be happening for the coming day and what's happened yesterday, sort of thing that might affect the coming day. I then have a look at the economic calendar just to see if there's any correspondence with what's in the news to what's going to be happening today. So many a time you'll see a prediction for interest rates, etc. Do I trade the news? No, I don't. But I'm very mindful of what is in the news. See, I'm a believer that the price is already built into the chart for what the news event is going to be given later on that day. So the way I get round it is half an hour, 20 minutes before the news event, I'm looking to be flat, no trades in. Wait for the event to happen, and then I'll trade it. Simple as that. So that's the first thing that I do. But my working day, for all I started sort of 7:15, 10:50 in the morning, getting ready for the European Opens, actually started the night before. Because the last thing I do on a night time is I look through the pairs that I trade and I thin them down to 5 or 6 that I'm going to trade the next day. And then once I've read the news and one thing and another, I have a look at this little watch list and I thin them down again because I'm waiting for the initial spike at 7 o'clock to see which way it's going to throw the market. I'll then thin those down based on that initial drive for the first 5-10 minutes after 7 o'clock to maybe 2. I'll then mark out my chart again fully, so I know where my key levels are, the swing highs, the swing lows, and I'll be looking to be placing my trades when price gets to those levels. So then it becomes a waiting game. And then just get myself together, probably have another coffee, get ready, set off down to the office with Winky because I work down there with her. I have 2 setups, one at home, one in the office. And while Joanne's doing her job, I do mine on the screens and give her a little hand. And in the meantime, I've seen Grandad and one thing and another. We all know that mad old bugger. See him every day. Makes me laugh every day. Keeps me sane. But I do it because it's part of my routine. And I do this every day. Come 5:30, Joanne's finished in the office. Close everything down. I'm normally finished by then. And that's it. That's my working day over. I then go home, have my tea, spend a bit of time with my kids and sort of Joanne, because it might come as a shocker to you, I actually have a life. Do what I need to do. And then the last thing at night, normally around about 9 o'clock, just as New York's starting to close up for the day, it's the end of the moves, so you can see general directions of what's been going on and you can sort of gauge your trends. I then, as I said earlier, I'll collate my basket ready for the next day. And then I'll have a look at my swing trades. Now, if you're working, this is the bit that might be of interest to you. Because, again, I'll look through every currency. But I don't look at one time frame. I look at higher time frames again. You see, when I'm day trading, I'm looking at the 4-hour and the hourly to trade off a 15-minute. And then I'll watch it maybe on a 5, depending on what mood I'm in. But primarily it's those 3. When I'm swing trading, I look at a monthly chart and a weekly chart to enter on a daily chart, and I'll enter at 9 o'clock at night. So I'll look at the chart, I'll see where the trend is, I'll see if there's a setup, and if I believe it's correct, then I'll enter. And your setup can be very simple, because I think too many people get hung up on setups and trying to be pip perfect. If you're trading end of day and you're looking at daily candles, and the range of that daily candle is 100 pips, ticks or points if you want to have an argument about it. If you're 10 pips out of your entry, does it really matter? No, because next day it's going to move 100 points. You know, or your expectation is 100 points. What matters is your direction. So you get yourself into a routine of looking for direction before you look at your setup. So look at your monthly, look at your weekly, and a simple filter is a 50 MA. Price is above on both the monthly and weekly, it's going up. Price is below, it's going down. Simple. Then analyse your daily chart to see if it's ready to enter your market. And if it is, just enter it, set it and forget it, and look at it again tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But always look at it at the same time of the day. Because if you're looking at 9 o'clock today, 12 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, 7 o'clock the day after, you haven't got a concise set of data. It's never going to be the same. So as long as you look at the charts at the same time every day, the data sample is the same as what you need. I hope that kind of makes sense. Because, like I say, it's an odd video to talk about this one, because routines are individual and trading is individual. See, we all have different setups, we all have different ways of making money. So the only advice I can give is look at the charts at the same time every day, and whatever you're doing, repeat it every day. That is it. Because if you start tinkering with your strategies and tinkering with the time of day that you look at the chart, you'll find you're all over the place and ultimately you'll not be profitable. And that's the easiest way to describe it. And when we're talking about tinkering with strategies, one of the failures that new traders have is they're looking for the holy grail all the time. And they'll try something and it'll work, but the moment they lose money, they'll change to something else. And they'll try that and it'll work, but then they'll lose some money and they'll try something else. And it becomes a vicious circle. You know, whatever system you're using, it will work at one time or another. What you need to figure out is your risk reward. And what I mean by that, if you have a strategy that wins 9 times out of 10, your risk reward can be 1-to-1 or even inverse for that matter, as long as it's slightly inverse, not massively inverse. And at the end of the week, you're in profit. But if you're winning 4 out of 10, you need a risk reward that is 3-to-1 to pay off the losses and also give you a little bit of profit at the end of the week. So don't get too hung up on your strategies. And I think that's where a lot of traders fail a little bit, because they'll try a strategy, it works, then they lose a bit, they get disheartened, so they try a new one, works, lose a bit, get disheartened, flip onto another one, and it becomes a vicious cycle, because you're constantly flipping from one to the next. And ultimately, all you needed to do was stick with what you already had. And that comes back to routine, because you know what you're doing every day, 9 o'clock every day, looking for direction, looking for entry, get in. Looking for direction, looking for exit, get out. And it really is as simple as that. And it's a hard one to answer because routines are individual, you know, as is trading individual. So, bit of an odd one today, guys. Best advice I can give you from this one is don't system hop. Stick to the same time of day that you trade, because, like I say, if you're trading at 9 o'clock one day, 12 o'clock the next, 7 o'clock the day after that, the sample of data will never balance out and you'll be all over the place. And stick to your strategy, you know. And if you're losing more than you're winning, ensure that your win rate is adjusted to suit, and that'll help you out. So, bit of an odd one. We'll try and touch on it. You never know, one day I might let you see me in the shower. Didn't they do away with video nasties in the 80s? Never mind. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go watch Star Wars. So remember, do what you love, the money will follow. I'll see you on the next one.